Hey everyone, welcome back. So for this log in SDL2 in C, we're going to implement the tile maps and collisions. So I'll show you how it works, explain the code, and run it in action. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a CMake file. So CMake handles the creation of the executable file and the linking of the libraries. Next is we're going to create a tile map. So inside the tile map, we will have the map size, which is the map width and the map height. And then also we will going to have a level. So 0 is the representation of the flooring and 1 is the representation of a wall. Now inside the main file, we will going to have a header file, or we're going to import the library that we needed. So the library that we needed is the SDL library, SDL image library, and for the printing of the error messages is we need the stdio. And for the use of true or false instead of 1 and 0, we're going to use std bool. So we are going to include or import the tile map.h here that we already made. So here we're going to have a direction enum for character sprite. So the usage of this is for the selecting the correct row of this sprite sheet. So inside the main function, we initialize the SDL so that we can use the video graphics, or we will going to have the SDL init video. So we can use the video subsystems. So if it fails, it will going to print out the error message and it will going to exit. And then next, we're going to initialize the image for PNG so that we can load the PNG file that we wanted. And then if it fails again, it will going to print out an error message and we're going to quit the SDL. So for the creation of the main window, we will going to name that into m_window. So the type is SDL window. And then here we're going to utilize the SDL create window for creating the window. And then the title is the tile map and collision. So we centered our window into the center. I mean, the position of our window is in center. And then here for the size of our window would be utilizing the map size that we define inside the tile map. So we multiply the map width by 64 because the map size is just only for tiles, not in pixels. So here we multiply by 64. And then if it fails, we will going to print an error and quit the SDL and the image. For the creation of the renderer, here the name of the renderer that we have is renderer. So SDL create renderer will create a window, which is the main underscore or m_window. So we use the -1, which means that we're going to use the available graphics that we have, and then we will going to use a hardware acceleration, so which means that we will going to use a GPU if it's available. And then if something's wrong, we will going to print out an error, and then also we will going to destroy or clean up the window and quit the SDL and the image. So for the loading of the tile PNG, so here we create a surface. So here the name of that surface is tile_surface, and then we load that with the image load. So we load the file that we have, which is in the folder name, which is assets, and then the file name is tile.png. So if it have a problem or error, it will going to print out the error messages, and then we will going to clean up the renderer and the window. Also, we quit the SDL and the image. Now for the loading of the character PNG, so here we also create a surface. So the name of that is the char underscore surface, and then we are going to load the image, or yeah, the image inside the asset folder, and the name of the file is character.png. So if ever happens or some error occurs, it will print out and then clean up the renderer and the window and close the SDL and the image. And then we're going to create the texture from the surface that we just created, and then the name of the texture is character sheet, and the texture from the surface, or SDL create texture from the surface, will create a texture out of the surface. So here we use the renderer and the char surface, and then we're going to free the resources that we created out of the char surface, so it will free it out or clean up for us. So we're going to set up the character constant or properties of the character that we have. So we have a 48 by 48 pixels with 4 number of frames. So the animation changes every 0.5 seconds, and starting direction or the starting point of the character is in the down direction. So the speed or moves, or how the character moves, is 150 pixel per second. So that is the speed in terms of pixel per second. Next, for the main loop, inside the main loop we have event loop, and then we calculate the delta time for the fluid or smooth movement of our character. So it's like a time between the frames. And then we have our character movement. So here the state will reads the keyboard state every frame. So here we have up arrow key, down arrow key, and left arrow key, and right arrow key. Now we have a collision detection tile base. So here it will base, or it will convert the player's position into a tile coordinate. So here we have a tile X and tile Y. So it will going to cast the value into int, and that would be the value for our tile X and tile Y. So for the collide with the wall, so if the tile is 1, which is the wall, so we revert the movement to the old position. Now we're going to update the animation frame, use the SDL get ticks. So in other words, it boils down to how fast the switch between frames. Now we're going to render everything we just created, and then we're going to render the screen to black, and then we're going to draw the tile map, and then loop through each tile in level. Then if the tile is 0 means flooring, and tile 1 means wall. First is we're going to draw tile map. So we're going to loop through each tile in the level. So if the tile is 0 means floor, and the tile 1 means wall. So that we're able to draw the tile. And then we're going to draw or render our character. Then lastly, we're going to free our resources properly. And that's it for this log. We just built a simple tile map system with collision detection in SDL2 using C.